Hello everyone, I'm hoping you're all doing okay, and I'm really glad to do another proper review today. So what's today's review about? It's going to be about this. This is a Merkur watch. Merkur is a Chinese brand. They do a nice variety of watches. This one is one of the more affordable ones. It is about $109, less than £100. It's got a manual wind, Chinese movement. And the things you're going to probably want to know is, for around your £100, is this going to be a bit scruffy around the edges? Is the movement going to be running okay? What's the build quality like? What's it feel like on wrist? All these things you're going to appreciate when you're buying a affordable watch. You're going to go, am I going to enjoy this thing, or is it just a heap of junk? Of course, there'll be a link in the description for their website. And there's going to be a coupon, by the way, for this watch. So bear that in mind. You're going to get an even bigger deal on this watch if you use the coupon. So I'm really impressed that they can even do a discount on this kind of price. So that's happy days, but that's depending on if you like it or not. So we're going to cover all the details of that lovely watch. And so let's get down to it and get on with the review. So here it is, the Merkur vintage style classic Chinese watch with a manual wind seagull movement. What do I think of it? That's going to come. First thing we need to do, really, so you know what we're looking at here for your $109 on a fabric or leather strap, is the stats and specifications. Now, I've verified what was on the website by basically, we're going to blast through a quick snapshot of me double checking the measurements and the specification, that it matches what they sound like. And sometimes products don't actually align with what they say online. As you can see, everything is pretty accurate what they give. They're one of the good ones for giving an accurate specification. So 50 meters water resistance, no screw down crown. That would probably make the manual winding aspect a bit fiddlier. There's no loom on here. Now the website shows either it comes with a metal bracelet, which is sold out at the moment, or a canvas strap. But this one was sent to me for review with this grey suede, which I actually think works really well. The grey complements this salmon dial very well. Salmon dial isn't the only option. You can get a silver one and a black one. But I think, for me, the pick of the bunch is this salmon dial. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, this high K1 mineral is going to be tough. It's got good clarity. Obviously, it's going to be a bit more vulnerable to scratches, but if this kind of casual watch and you're not into too many high-intensity, dangerous activities, it shouldn't get scratched up too much. The case for this price is nice, that it's all stainless steel with brushed and polished finishes, and I'll go into a bit more detail about all those kind of things a bit later on. But you've got a screw case back, again that's good, helping with the 50 meters water resist, which is not too bad for this price and this kind of watch. And lovely detailing on the back. You've got some Chinese words which I don't understand, but hope there's nothing rude on there, very much doubt it. And we've got the Great Wall of China on the back, which is a very nice touch, because Merkur watches are very proud of their Chinese heritage, and they really play on that with a lot of their watches. They do lots of military style watches, vintage style watches, modern looking watches as well. It's a real blend of choice that they offer, so I like that. And I'm a little bit more of a sucker for these more classic looking watches. The slightly smaller case sizes, 38 is a sweet spot for many, very wearable, that's a good thing. And the same with the lug to lug, wears really nice. And these tapering down lugs really help with the wearability. You're going to see some wrist shots, how well this fits snugly to the wrist. The measurement that was given for the height is actually including this very high crystal. So it's almost a third of the watch is this top hat mineral crystal. And we've also got, because there's a domed dial as well, slightly curved hands. If you can just catch a glimpse here of this seconds hand, ticking smoothly around there. I think it's a 4 Hertz movement, because it's running at 21,600 beats per hour. So it's very nice, pretty smooth tick. And I like all those classic details, such as like the dome dial, etc. It's really nice. Really makes it play with the light, and it's fun. And it looks like an antique, but it's brand new. So we've kind of gone over all the outside bits you can see, but you can't see is the movement inside. I effectively think it is a seagull movement, a manual wind. It's a Chinese movement. It's very, very likely to be one of those. They don't actually say that. They say it's an in-house movement, but I think it's just something that they've regulated, or I don't know. They're very vague on that. I can't get any information on what they mean by in-house movement, but for this price, it's very much likely to be a seagull movement. Now, an important thing you might want to know is what's it running like. Now, I did put this on my time graph. I put it in 4 different settings and it had a slightly squiffy beat error. It was around the 1, which is not great. You want it as close to 0. It can go up to 0.1, 2, 3 and so on, up to maybe 1. Anything over that, it's maybe had a knock, but it wasn't too bad. It's still running fairly smoothly, and the average day rate on all the different settings, and this has been worn for a while now, and it's been bedded in, I would say, and it's been wound a number of times. Fully wound, the average speed that this was running at was +8 a day, which is very good for a cheap manual wind Chinese movement watch. Now, I'm going to run through some things which I think are really noteworthy about this piece. And first of all, the thing that have really stunned me is I can't find any flaws on this watch. There's no imperfections anywhere. I've looked at this under the macro. You're going to see macro shots popping up throughout, and there's no smudgy bits on any of these gorgeous polished indices. There's no fluff anywhere, no dust, no little bits, no imperfections in the dial. The machining of everything is really good. The contrast between this lovely circular brushing you've got for the top part of the case, then you've got a polished bezel and then polished sides, just to break it all up. It's a lovely balance of polished and brushed elements, and then you've got a frosted element to the screw down case back, and there's no sharp edges here, which is often the case with cheaper watches. So it probably is what adds to the whole comfort of when you're wearing it on your wrist. You don't get any snaggy bits or sharp bits. It's just consistently comfortable, and it's just very smooth in your hands. I mean, the polishing's been done really well. A way to check that is when you look at under the light, it looks almost black sometimes. There's no ripples or bad patches. You can't see where they've not done a smooth job on that polishing. Brushing, again, it's very consistent. It's smooth, it's fine. A very basic crown, but it's a nice, good size. It doesn't stick out too much. You're not going to snag it easily, but it's a good size to actually start winding it up. It takes about 25 to 30 winds, depends on what you define as a full wind, from completely flat to fully charged, and it lasts a couple of days. Nice every morning just to give it a top up, something tactile to work with. It's, again, adding to that classic feel of a watch, having to interact with it every day. And it's definitely what would have aided to the slimness of this watch, because there's no need for a rotor in there. So that means they can make it slimmer, and then maybe play a bit more with having a high crystal on there to really add to the vintage look. So it's a really well executed overall design to have all those pieces working together so well. These hands are so beautifully done. They've got brushed finish and they look so well done. They're really crisp, and the way they play with the light, because they're brushed, is very different to fully polished hands. So they retain their legibility, but they still got something which makes it really pretty to look at when the light catches it. And I like that. And I also like the no date complication aspect of the watch. And then you've got the lovely 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 Arabics on there. And then the other intermittent indices are just the little dashes. It's lovely, little batons, I should say. And that's just really nice. And then all the way around, all the minute markers are little blobs. Lovely little dots that go around. And I just think that is really classy. And again, in the light, those are the nice little surface areas which catch the light and make it really nice to look at. And just enjoy looking at it. You end up not knowing what the time is because you spent too long looking at it. And the dial itself, it's lovely, the standard sort of matte finish in the middle of the salmon. And then we've got what looks like a record player disc ring where all the Arabics and baton indices are, which really help break up the surface area. Because this is a large dial for a relatively small watch. It's really taken up by all that dial space, which is really nice. It helps it wear and look a little bit bigger than it actually is. 38mm is relatively small. So it's all about proportions, and that's why I think this is a bit of a winner, this design. Now on wrist, you get plenty of scope for adjustment on my 7-inch wrist here. So this strap is quite long. So if you did get the leather strap when you ordered it, I would say it's going to definitely cater for many people. Downside to suede, it gets grubby almost immediately. So it's a bit of a downside, but you can obviously clean it. There's ways you can clean suede, but I like the suede because it complements the brushed steel and it really helps that dial pop because there's a nice contrast there. And it's a softer tone as well to work with the soft tone of the salmon. Really Another reason why I think this isn't the standard strap, because this is FOD on here, and that's part of their Fly Over Darkness range, which they do. Is they got loads of other brands. There's Pierre Paulin, there's Merkur, of course, Season, Red Star, I think is another one. Being a smart casual watch, you have no lume, but you know what? This is a daytime watch, and it really excels in the daytime by having so many elements about it which make it really pretty. Now, is there anything I've found which I don't like about this watch? Well, apart from the few dirty suede elements I've said here, the movement is okay. It does have a relatively smooth winding, but it is going to be one of their entry-level, very cheap Chinese movements. It's running okay in this watch, but it's not breathtaking, but it could be a lot worse. I wouldn't have minded sapphire. You can get sapphire in cheap watches, especially from China. It would have been nice to have that. I'm really struggling after that because I always like to think about how much this watch costs if you were to buy it. $109 is less than £100. What else can you get in the high street that's going to look like this with a manual wind movement and this kind of build quality? There's no flaws on it at all. I think you'd be struggling. That's why I think overall this is a gorgeous watch with a great spec, but could be better. But I'm very impressed. I'd love to know what you guys think. So there you have it. What a beauty. It's amazing what you can get from China for less than £100. It's a stunner. And definitely the salmon dial, that's the one. If you want a salmon dial watch, it's just a smart casual thing you can wear to work, not worry about it too much because it's not very expensive. Enjoy that it looks good, but literally don't even notice it on your wrist. It's so light. It's a great watch and I'm recommending it for those reasons. And if you've enjoyed this video, it will be a huge plus for me if you like, comment, all that stuff, all the stuff usual YouTubers do, begging at the end. But I'm not here to beg. I'm here just to show gratitude that you've made it to the end of my video and you're hearing me say these things. Hopefully you'll hear me say more things in another video, or if you want to check out some of my other stuff I've done in the past. I've done many videos now. I've been a busy boy over the years. It'll be a pleasure to see you again in another one. Bye for now.